I'm Prakash Daswani. I'm the founder of Cultural Cooperation, which is an educational and arts charity that I set up with my late colleague Robert Atkins, going back over 20 years now. And its purpose was to try and get to grips with the changing world that we live in, especially in places like London. The presence of many different cultures in places like London is both a spur and a threat, actually, to intercultural activity. On the one hand, you have the presence of many different worldviews coexisting side by side, and that's something, in order to get people living in their natural lives, they have to find out who your neighbours are and how to relate to them. It's a spur in the sense that creative responses come out of that. It's a threat because those things don't take place in a vacuum, in a historical or a political vacuum, and people who come into a place, whatever the purpose of that was, whatever the motivation was, are coming into somewhere there already are people, and that can lead to frictions, especially if you think that the resources and the power is with those who were there initially. The link between people who are coming into a place, immigrants let's say, is that they need to establish themselves in the society they come into, the alien territory, if you like. They're seen as aliens, but for them the territory into which they come is also alien. And their needs, therefore, to try and establish who they are to start with. When people who are living there see their own culture, as it were, being mediated through a foreign culture, then it makes those who are there already think, hey, I'd never thought of it this way before. So in that way, it opens up and provides lateral ways of looking at things which for the host population have seemed entirely familiar and largely unchangeable. What I think it does is that it enables people not to get so hung up or tied to a particular cultural expression as being the only thing and the only way it can be done. And that, I think, is quite a liberating thing, and does allow people to think, hey, I can also be an individual and start being creative. But there are different practical examples of how that has worked and continues to work in practice all over Britain, and particularly in London, and over the last 30 or 40 years. A classic example of that, of course, is the Notting Hill Carnival. When you look across a field in central London, which is full of maybe 200 cultures sitting side by side, entirely comfortable in each other's company, and actually nervously just realising that they're sitting next to someone from a part of the world that they would never normally dream of sitting next to, and yet it's entirely natural. And what the festival therefore allows is a safe and fertile contact zone in which people can just say, actually, it's quite fun sitting next to someone who's a Rastafarian or a Sikh or whatever, and I would never think of approaching them normally, but in this setting it seems entirely natural.